Hello and a happy Sunday to you. Welcome to The Big Magazine, your weekend weekly digest from Big News. I'm Lee Bannister, and over the next hour we're going to take a nice relaxed look around our area. If you're in Birmingham, Solihull, the Black Country, settle back, settle down. Let's see what we've got for you on your Sunday. It's Sunday, so in a few moments we're going to cross to Big News for a look back across the week with Bob Hall. A little later on, Des and Gary will see what's on for Sunday. Carl will be here with the Bill News. We'll see what's up on this week's community notice board. Charity Focus will profile a local charity. Tom Wilkinson will give us another history lesson for the coming week. And I'll have a route around the good old Big Centre postbag. So that's all to come within the pages of Sunday's Big Magazine. So then, it's over to Big Centre's newsroom now for a look back at what's been going on in our area this week. Here's Bob.
Thanks, Lee. Children at Willenhall's New Invention Junior School have been bringing the science lab to the classroom to learn more about space. Rocket Science is an educational project launched by the Royal Horticultural Society and the UK Space Agency. Roshni Patel has been back to school to learn more.
If you can't get to space, well, just bring a little piece of it back down to Earth. That's the idea of this national science scheme rolled out across 10,000 of the country's schools.
Which one was that one, the red one? What difference is the...
In these trays lies 2 types of rocket seeds. Ones that have journeyed about 200 miles above the Earth to the International Space Centre with none other than Brit Tim Peake, and those that are just your average ones. The trick, back on Earth, nobody knows which ones are which.
Children have been involved at school in coming in and taking measurements to compare the growth of the seeds that have been into space with the ones that have remained on Earth, to see whether zero gravity has had an effect on the growth of seedlings. And the main aim of the project has been to try and find out whether in the future people will be able to grow seeds in space. We've got to take for our rocket seeds investigation. The last one.
The children here at the New Invention Junior School in Willenhall have been working on this project for 6 weeks now. In the next couple of months, they'll get a special message from astronaut Tim Peake, telling them which seeds were from high up in space and which ones were from down here right on Earth. It's safe to say that enthusiasm is high.
I'm really excited because it's nationwide and we're one of the schools that get to do it, and it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to grow seeds that have been into space.
But this is actually being into space where, well, you can't really go every day. So they've been up into space, we've got to plant them, we've got to take care of them. So it's been very great.
Because it's not something that you get to do every day. So doing this has changed so that we get to do something that not many people have done.
We don't get to do this stuff. We normally write in our books our predictions, but with this you have to plant seeds, the percentages, and work out all the stuff that the plants have grown.
Children have all been really excited about it, and obviously in the future we're looking into space travel and things like that, so obviously we need to think about growing food in space one day, hopefully. So this is just the start of many things to come, I think, and it's just great that we can get so many children involved in this project.
92%. For the entire time I'm here, these children are glued to this hands-on project. There's an air of eagerness and motivation, and Sadie tells me that some of these youngsters are learning more than just science.
Children who've been taking part in this project have actually said, I want to be a scientist when I'm older, so if anything it's good that it's actually inspiring them to perhaps take on roles like that later in life, and it makes them realise that it's not all about just sort of sitting down working in a book, it's all about getting involved, getting their hands dirty.
Inspired and in awe, this change in classic classroom teaching may have just paved the way for the UK's British scientists of the future. Roshni Patel for Big News in Willenhall.
Well, it may have been 3 months late, but the planned Midland Metro trams have finally started running into Birmingham New Street. It started on Bank Holiday Monday. Norman Bartlam was on board the first.
Last week, rock legend Ozzy Osbourne was in town to unveil a tram named in his honour, but then it was the black day on the Sabbath because the route was still not fully open. Fast forward a day to Bank Holiday Monday and the lump of heavy metal, that's the tram, was ready to run along the fully completed route from Grand Central to Wolverhampton for the first time. Big Centre News was on board the first passenger carrying tram as it arrived at Grand Central just before 8 o'clock. And this same tram was then given a send-off as it left for Wolverhampton at 8 o'clock. This completes the £128 million extension, which has seen the replacement of all trams and also the delivery of 21 new ones. Also refurbishment of the state-of-the-art depot at Wednesbury and laying of track and building of 3 new stops. The initial extension only reached Bull Street but was a significant step forward as it meant trams were running on the city's streets for the first time since 1953. Whilst work was underway, even the Queen popped by to unveil a tram at the new Bull Street stop, naming it in honour of the former Centro man Angus Adams. The whole project hasn't been without its problems. It should have been open in time to coincide with the opening of Grand Central, and it was recently revealed that the system had lost £34 million since it opened 17 years ago. Officials, though, are keen to put this behind them and push on with the next phase, which should see trams running past the Town Hall and into Centenary Square by 2019. Critics say if it's taken since 2012 to get 0.6 miles of worth of extension completed, then don't expect a tram to go past there any time in the near future. For now at least, they must be privately pleased that the line has finally opened, and they hope to attract 8 million passengers by 2018. This is Norman Bartlam for Big News in Birmingham.
The Office for National Statistics has said that 1.4 million women and 700,000 men a year suffer some form of domestic abuse. It's largely hidden, of course, occurring mainly in homes behind closed doors. And the ordeal doesn't always mean it's physical abuse, and it can be difficult to measure for those who experience it. Andrea Smith from Birmingham moved in with her now ex-husband 5 years ago. It was the emotional and financial abuse that she couldn't cope with. She now stands as a survivor of domestic abuse and through theatrical drama has found her escapism as well as a platform to create awareness. Monica Plaha has been to meet her.
In the mirror, Andrea looks back at the woman that was once broken.
It's only when you look back that you realise you haven't been living a normal existence. Even now, I don't sit down, slob out in pyjamas and watch TV because I'm still in flight. They call it flight and fight for survivors. And I can't settle. I can't sit and relax. So this house that I'm in now is the first time I've locked the door and I know I'm safe.
5 years ago, she began a marriage, moved home, started up her own business. In fact, Andrea was convinced she was living the dream, but it wasn't long before the dream became a living nightmare.
Sometimes the kitchen sink would be a mess because he'd made it a mess and that was okay. Other days, I made it a mess. There was hell to pay. There was a problem because I'd made that kitchen sink a mess. But the next day, I'd look and he'd made it a mess and it was okay. The boundaries moved all the time. The threat of violence is very, very powerful. And if you look through time, through history and through abusive relationships, it's the threat of violence. So there was a taser in the bedside cabinet. There was lots and lots of different, what I would say weapons, air guns, different things around the house, an axe. That's the threat of violence. That's really powerful as a control mechanism.
Now she's taking her story of surviving domestic abuse to the stage.
From my experiences, I thought I can either go one way or the other. I can become bitter and twisted and feel really angry with the world and also with men, or I can actually change the world somehow. So I decided to write. I had really severe post-traumatic stress disorder, diagnosed once the break from the marriage became clear. And I was so traumatised. I couldn't speak, I couldn't get out of bed, I couldn't work, and I couldn't look after my children. It was a really dark time. But what I could do was write. And when I say write, I wrote 12 to 15 poems a day, and that's all I could do. I began to perform, and it was difficult for me because, believe it or not, I couldn't speak. Now I can't shut up. And I created an alter ego called Swingerella to perform through. But we survive.
As with any form of domestic abuse, finding help to escape is often the hardest step. And now, through her alter ego and love of arts, Swingerella creates awareness to help other men and women, where the message hope is bigger than fear. Monica Plaha, Big News in Birmingham.
But we survive.
Now, one of the big problems in Dudley, it appears, is dogs fouling not only the footpaths but also the parks in the borough. So they've come up with a solution. They've spray painted warnings onto the pavements and footpaths. You may have seen them if you've been around Wallheath or Kings Winford parks already. Roshni Patel went to one of the real bad spots, Priory Park in Dudley, to see how they're getting on.
Dog walkers around Dudley will now only need to look down to see what the consequence will be should they choose not to pick up their dog's mess.
We thought this was another way of reminding people of their responsibility should their dog foul the pavement. And we thought, well, where do people normally look when they're walking with a dog? It's at the pavement, so that's why we've put the stencils on the pavement. One of the major problems, though, are those people, for some bizarre reason, that decide to go along, collect the dog mess and put it into a plastic bag, then leave it on the pavement or put it in a hedge or throw it into a tree. So I don't think we're any different from anywhere else, but we thought we'd try this just to encourage people to be better.
But there is one problem. It's the weather. Unfortunately, on a rainy day, which is typical of British weather, these stencils carrying warning messages simply turn into a yellow smear. That's because of the material it's made up of, which over time just washes away. Now this begs the question, if it's not a permanent solution, will it even be taken seriously?
Well, they need to remember as well, we have lots of other methods. We have enforcement officers in the parks and on the streets who are constantly looking out for people who have dogs that behave like this. When it comes to a permanent solution, it's how do you educate people to have responsibility over their pets and be responsible owners. So education plays a part in this as well.
So with fines of up to £1,000 and possible prosecution through the courts, the writing is on the floor for Dudley's dog owners. Roshni Patel for Big News in Dudley.
Now, Birmingham Children's Hospital has officially opened its new play and admission centre. The new facility, which costs £500,000, will be the first port of call for more than 5,000 youngsters who go to the hospital every year for surgery. It'll help them and many more relax and enjoy themselves by bringing a little bit of home into one of the world's leading paediatric hospitals. Monica Plaha has been there too.
The first of its kind in the country, a point of admission that will incorporate play into the care of thousands of young patients to improve their experience of undergoing critical surgery.
Where we've combined the surgical journey of the children that are coming in to have an operation with actually just relaxation and play, which is one of the strategic straplines for our trust, to make every contact centred around play, which is the business of children, to keep them relaxed, distracted and not focus on surgery, medicines and things like that.
4-year-old Lauren, who won her battle with cancer, was the day's guest of honour. She was on hand to officially cut the ribbon. Now in remission after receiving treatment for leukemia, Lauren is the first of thousands who will be admitted for surgery through this new facility.
She's brilliant. It doesn't matter what happens, she's always got a smile on her face and she's always making us laugh. She's just adorable, to be honest. She's come through so much and she's always so happy.
This brand new £500,000 play centre, to name a few, includes a new sensory room, outdoor play area, a library and clinical rooms.
I don't think we could ever thank the public, everybody, whoever's given anything towards this. I mean, the difference they're going to make to thousands of children year on year is just phenomenal. What they're not just doing is keeping people relaxed and happy as they're going to theatre, but for our long-term patients that live here for months on end, you're giving them a place to actually have some proper quality family time, to enjoy where they are and forget they're the backdrop of a hospital.
Being able to play means Lauren could focus on having fun without overthinking the life-changing surgery ahead of her, and now thousands can follow in her footsteps. Monica Plaha, Big News in Birmingham.
Welcome back. It's the Big Magazine for you on a Sunday here on Big Centre. Still to come, Carl with the film news. We'll see what's up on the community notice board, as well as who's featured in this week's Charity Focus. Tom Wilkinson will look ahead to next week in history, and I'll grab what's in the postbag. That's all coming up later on in the show. But first, let's find out what's on for Sunday. Here they are. It's Des and Gary.
So here's the situation. In 1974, a manned mission was sent into space to look for inhabitable planets. Now, in the present day, the sensors aboard Shuttle X-27-40 indicate that it may have found just such a planet. The 3 astronauts on board are about to be woken from their hypersleep, and they need your help. At the Mac in Cannon Hill Park, you are ground control.
Oh, that's not. I thought you'd been. That was real then.
Hey,
it was so convincing. I was with you on that one.
And Futuretron is asking for your help to decide the future of a new planet.
So it's a bit of a play then, really.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
I thought,
quite convincing.
I thought I'd missed something in the news. Then, right. The 2016 outdoor athletic season will kick off in style with the prestigious Birmingham Diamond League today, starting at midday. It's part of the global IAAF Diamond League series and will attract the biggest names in athletics from across the globe. Last year, more than a dozen Olympic champions and 27 world champions lined up at the event. Diamond race points will be up for grabs, and athletes will also be looking to secure vital qualifying standards for the British athletics team with the Olympic Games in Rio de Janeiro just around the corner.
That should be that's always a good meeting, isn't it?
It is good. Hopefully we're just trying to sort something out with that to get some cameras out at the moment, but
great.
We'll see.
Right, gigs tonight, and the Jazz Club 90 in Albrighton. One of our regular watchers who always emails his list over. He has pianist, singer Carl Sinclair and his trio with Howard Smith on drums. He plays with Steve Gibbons, I believe, and my mate Sam Rogers on tenor sax, great player. Mostly Autumn play the Robin 2. Claire Teal and trumpeter Guy Barker play a new album 12 O'Clock Tales, accompanied by the 16-piece Hollywood Orchestra.
Is that Hollywood near Withall or Hollywood, USA?
I don't know. The folk ensemble Power Folk Festival is at the Spotted Dog, and the Stairs play the Hare and Hounds, and Decade play the Rainbow. It's time to say goodbye.
OK then, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
See you, bye-bye. Here's Daisy May.
Daisy May, you're swimming in my head.
And Des and Gary will be back here on Big Centre with a look at what's on for the coming week tonight, as well as during big news all through this week.
Hello, my name is Reverend Jim, and I'm the minister at St Matthew's Church in Walsall. One of the many joys of digital television is that it has brought many extra channels and programmes to our TVs, ones that we might not otherwise have seen. I guess another major plus about digital TV is that I can enjoy watching repeats of previous episodes that I've never seen before. Not only that, but with the +1 and the +24 channels available to us, we can view so many things that we thought we'd missed. It reminds me of the writer D.H. Lawrence, who once wrote something which goes a bit like this. If only we were able to live our life twice, once to make our mistakes and then a second time by which to profit from them. One of my favourite films of recent years picks up on that theme. About Time is a film where some people inherit the ability to go back in their lives and change the past. It really is a great feel-good movie. But of course the reality is it's not like that. We only live life once, and that means we have to live with every good and every bad decision that we've ever made. With that in mind, I find a verse from the Bible when Paul writes to his friends in Rome a helpful guide. He writes, "Do not conform any longer to the pattern of this world." Too many people live their lives by trying to conform to the world. For some people that will mean indulging in too much drink, focusing on their own position in life, their image and how other people perceive them, desperately seeking satisfaction in material possessions and money. This conforming to the world results in people doing things and living lives that aren't truly honest, and that can lead to a loss of integrity. It means that we never get the full joy out of our living our lives. That is where the promise Jesus made, that he came to bring life, and life in all its fullness, is so attractive. Jesus encourages us to enjoy life, to get the most out of life. Contrary to what many people think, his teachings and example show us that this joy is best found when we forget about living life for ourselves and put other people first. That may seem counterintuitive, but it is something that many people have discovered has a ring of authenticity to it when they actually try it. It also reflects the lessons learnt in the film About Time. Unlike that film and the repeated TV programmes, whilst we may not be able to live life more than once, a healthy perspective on the uniqueness and value of our lives and appreciating and getting the most out of each moment, well, that can lead us to living life more fully, whilst the world around us also benefits from our contribution. That is part of the good news of the Christian message.
Now, do you like a good film? Well, why not watch our movie magazine show, The Big Picture, on Fridays and Sundays? And to give you a taster, here's Carl Jones with this week's movie news.
Thanks very much, Lee. Well, it's that time of the week where we take a look at what's new at West Midlands cinemas. And once again, no surprise, I suppose, with it being half-term, there's plenty to choose from. Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling form an unlikely double act in a film called The Nice Guys. This one's the story of a mismatched pair of private investigators who are on the trail of an apparent suicide of a fading porn star. It's all set in 1970s Los Angeles. It's not exactly a smooth partnership, as you can see here.
You're a private investigator?
Look, there's $20 in there, all right? Just take it.
No, I'm not here for that, I told you.
You and Nolan hired me.
Yeah. If we can do this the easy way, we can do it the
Glenn.
hard way. What?
Lily Glenn, 2 N's. Old lady hired me to find her niece on Tuesday.
You just gave up your client.
I made a discretionary revelation.
No, you just gave her up. I asked you one simple question. You gave me all the information.
I thought that's what you wanted.
What? Now, I'm very sorry that you didn't get the message.
I get it, I dig it.
What about now? Give me your left arm.
Huh?
Your left arm. Give me your left arm. This one.
No!
Yeah, come on.
No! No!
Right, look, when you're talking to your doctor, just tell him you have a spiral fracture of the left radius.
No! No!
Deep breath. You mind if I have an apple?
Well, Iron Man director Shane Black serves up a really energetic comedy thriller here. Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling are terrific together, and you sense they really did get on well. There's a sort of Lethal Weapon kind of vibe going on and lots of great one-liners. Highly recommended, that one. Changing the mood, next up is Warcraft: The Beginning. This is a film which opened on Monday. Peace in a kingdom called Azeroth is shattered when a portal opens to another dying world, and it means that these orc-like warriors are fleeing their dying home and they're trying to colonise another place. It's not long before everybody's getting very suspicious. For the most part, this film is frenetically edited and full of bruising battle sequences, so I have to say 10 out of 10 for energy, but for me me, Warcraft is still a disappointment, as the story itself plods along very slowly behind all the pretty pictures. But given that it's inspired by a game which sold millions, you know that it's guaranteed a decent-sized audience. This week's award to the biggest weepy of the year goes to Me Before You. It's a touching comedy drama about a small-town girl. Game of Thrones' Emilia Clarke forms an unexpected bond with a recently paralysed man that she's trying to look after. Here's a look at our two stars getting to know one another.
So you're not a classical music person, then?
Hated every minute.
Yeah, I could tell. Especially during that oboe solo.
There was something in my eye. I loved it. Did you?
Yeah.
Right, well, we better get you in.
Wait a minute, Clark.
You okay?
I don't want to go in yet. I just want to be a man who's been to a concert with a girl in a red dress. Just a few minutes more.
Well, there are lots of laughs in this one, but there are also some real tugs of the heartstrings too. And if you are a sensitive soul, you might be advised to take a box of tissues along to that one. Finally this week, it's the return of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, who are once again lured out of the sewers when their arch nemesis escapes political custody. Our somersaulting foursome are prepared to use any means of transportation at their disposal to stay one step ahead of the game, even if that means leaping into the skies to try and land on an aeroplane. We'll finish this week with a look at this week's box office top 5. And at number 5 this week, George Clooney and Julia Roberts are caught up in a TV studio hostage drama in Money Monster, a daft film, but I thought it was quite good fun. At number 4, still doing really well during half-term, is the new version of The Jungle Book, with Idris Elba among the voiceover characters. At 3, another piece of animation, the Angry Birds movie, which is full of bright colours and will delight the youngest of audiences. At number 2, Mia Wasikowska and Johnny Depp return to Wonderland in Alice Through the Looking Glass. And at number 1, despite some lukewarm reviews from the critics, it's still X-Men Apocalypse. Don't forget, if you like your movies, tune into The Big Picture every Friday at 10 on Big Centre TV, where we bring you reviews of the big screen, the small screen, and also interviews with local movie makers.
Thanks, Carl. And of course, as he said, you can see more from him on The Big Picture. Now, that's on tonight, actually, at 9 o'clock, and also, as he said, on Friday nights at 10. Right, we're going to take another short break now, but when we come back, we'll look at the community notice board, then we'll see who's the subject of this week's Charity Focus. And as ever, I'll be delving into the Big Centre postbag too. So, see you in a few minutes.
Let's have a look at what is happening in your community as we take a look at the community notice board.
You can tell you're back. Have a nice time away?
Yes, it was very good, thank you.
Good, good. Now, if you have some news you'd like to feature, then give us plenty of notice and you could be telling people all across the area what's going on.
If you want to get in touch, we'll tell you how you can in a few minutes' time.
Certainly will. Now, the St Matthew's Walsall Community Day is happening on Saturday the 11th of June. It's a celebration of the town and its people, as well as the Queen's 90th birthday. I knew it. I've missed that. I've missed that.
There's live music and entertainment, community groups and information, stalls, workshops and craft tents, face painting, donkey rides, a bouncy castle, plus food and refreshments from the vintage tea rooms. I wonder if there's wine.
I don't know. It being a church event, I'm not sure.
Oh, and there's a red, white and blue fancy dress competition for the under-11s. Jesus drank wine.
That is true, isn't it? Yeah. It's a historical fact. Now, they're getting local schools, organisations and the community involved in the event, and they're hoping for a great weather and a great atmosphere. I'm sure they will, based on the last couple of days. I hope so, anyway.
Entry is free and it's on Saturday the 11th of June from 10:30 until 3:30 p.m. It's at St Matthew's in Walsall, and that's in St Matthew's Close, not very far from where we're sitting at the moment.
In fact, if my bearings are right, it's that way.
Hello,
from
St
where we are.
Matthew's!
Yeah, I've got, yeah. They're behind the community notice board side. Anyway, moving on, the ladies' social section of the Sheffield Male Voice Choir have arranged their annual concert at Pelsall Community Centre on Station Road in Pelsall for June the 11th.
The choir will be singing a selection of songs to suit every taste, and returning as guest artists this year are the local duo Ptarmigan, who delighted the audience last year. That's a tongueful, that is.
It is actually.
Great
yeah.
name, though.
Oh, I love it, yeah. Now, tickets for it are £6 and they include light refreshments. So if you'd like to go along, all you got to do is call 01922 682 070, or you can get tickets on the door. So it's all on the evening of Saturday, the 11th of June at 7:30 at the Pelsall Community Centre.
Well, the countdown to this year's Black Country Festival is well underway. I'm sorry for any people that were watching in Birmingham.
You with your perfect speech as well.
It's well underway, I'm so excited. And thousands of people are getting ready, including me, for the month-long festival throughout July, with events taking place across most of the towns in the area.
Are you going along to one of the events?
Yes, I always go to the Stourbridge one.
Yeah, right. Is that you having fun?
There's no Queen, there's no Mayor, so this is me at Stourbridge Black Country Festival.
Okay. Well, it all includes the Halesowen Carnival on July the 2nd, the Stourbridge Carnival, where you'll be on July the 3rd. I just want to go to see that. The Great Black Country Road Run in Halesowen on July the 3rd as well. And the Beer Festival at Brierley Hill Civic Hall on July the 29th to the 31st. Also, Black Country Day itself is on Thursday, July the 14th. You look like you're spinning something as a cowgirl or something. I love it. And there'll also be activities in Dudley Town Centre on Saturday, July the 16th.
I'll say there's no Mayor, but the Mayor will probably be there.
Oh, yeah.
so-
Well, you know what you've got to do, haven't you?
Oh, no, that's the Queen.
I thought that was...
What was my Mayor one?
That was your mayor. The Queen is...
Oh,
Yeah.
right, okay, all right.
Honestly, you're away for 2 weeks and it all goes well.
Right, the festival is now in its third year and sparks a wave of pride across the Black Country, as you can see, honouring its history and celebrating the future. So for more information on events of the Black Country Festival taking place throughout July, you can visit www.black-country-festival.co.uk.
We love the Black Country because we were both born there, it's true. Like it. Next, it's a big hello to Katrina Plum and all the guys at the Watering Trough here in Walsall. Now, she's asked us to let you know about some of the things they've got coming up soon.
On the 11th of June, it's the Walsall Punk Festival, and on the 25th of June, it's the Cider Festival. Then in July, on the 2nd, there's live music with 51 Stone. And then on the 23rd of July, they're celebrating their first year anniversary of taking over with Big Centre's very own Johnny Doom.
Go Johnny Doom, yes. Now, Katrina says that each week there's a games night on Mondays, Red Tooth Poker on Tuesdays, free pool on Wednesdays. On Thursday, it's free jukebox and open mic every other week. You'll find rock DJs on Fridays and Saturdays, then another free jukebox on Sundays. So that's all at the Watering Trough on Ablewell Street in Walsall.
A voluntary group from Birmingham, which manages the Holford Drive Community Sports Hub in Perry Bar, has been honoured with the Queen's Award for Voluntary Service.
The Queen again? There it is.
I was going to do my mayor thing. The highest award for the voluntary group can receive in the UK.
Yeah, the sports club is run by 4 clubs for 4 core sports. There's the Aston Boxing Club, Holford Drive Tennis Club, Continental Star Football Club and Continental Cricket Club.
Lincoln Moses, MBE, Keith John and Diane Sawyers, trustees from the Holford Drive Community Sports Hub, attended a garden party at Buckingham Palace on the 19th of May 2016, where they met the Queen and other winners of this year's award. That's so great.
It is.
I'd love to go to Buckingham Palace.
Well, you never know, you never know.
One day.
One day. And what will you do when you meet the Queen? Love it. Now, Holford Drive Community Sports Hub is one of 193 charities, social enterprises and voluntary groups to receive this prestigious award this year.
The Queen's Award for Voluntary Service is the highest award given to local volunteer groups across the UK to recognise outstanding work in their communities. The awards were created in 2002 to celebrate the Queen's Golden Jubilee, and winners are announced each year on the 2nd of June, the anniversary of the Queen's coronation.
So it is really quite special, isn't it? Holford Drive Community Sports Hub will receive the award from the Lord Lieutenant of Birmingham later this summer.
Congratulations.
Yes, well done.
Now, this year's Bands on the Beacon event on the 3rd of July will see local performers Hidden Skies donating their time to help local children's charity Acorns Children Hospice. Known for their heavy-edged alternative rock sounds, the headline act will be showing their softer rock band nature, volunteering on the charity's store when they are not performing on the day. Lead singer Alexander Lenihan has a personal association to the charity through his mum, who works for Acorns in the Black Country, based in Warsaw as a nurse.
Nice. Now, also appearing are the Interpreters, with an eclectic sound that's described as a mix of pop, rock, soul, rhythm and blues and punk, with a big helping of ska and reggae. Do you think that covers everything?
Yeah.
I like the sound of that. Now, the band consists of Tom Bradshaw, who is the lead vocalist and who plays guitar and harmonica, Dean Jones on guitar and vocals, Kieran Baker on bass and vocals, and Rob Briggs on drums.
This year, other bands have signed up to perform on the big day include Sunday 44, Pleasure House and Dinky. Live music and stunning 360-degree views make Bands on the Beacon a unique experience.
Sounds quite cool. Now, as we said, Bands on the Beacon is all in aid of local charity Acorns Children's Hospice, who offer a range of specialist services to children and their families across the Midlands. Now, it costs Acorns more than £9 million every year to continue providing its care, and it relies on fundraising for the majority of this amount. Now, in the last year, Acorns has supported over 800 children and more than 1,030 families, including those who are bereaved.
So Bands on the Beacon is on Sunday the 3rd of July 2016 at Bar Beacon, and if you'd like any more information then you can call 01922 653344 or have a look online at cms.warsaw.gov.uk/bands_on_the_beacon.
There we go, easy. Now, Barnardo's ongoing work to transform the lives of children and young people will be the focus of an open event at the Birmingham Council House Chambers in Victoria Square on Tuesday, 7th of June. Professionals and members of the public are being invited to the information event to hear how the children's charity continues to support the most vulnerable children, young people and families in its 150th anniversary year.
There will be personal accounts from people connected to the charity, including Sheffaly Hollis, a lady fostered by Barnardo's as a child, as well as colleagues from Barnardo's Children's Services in Birmingham and Sue Howard from our local legal partners Quality Solicitors Davisons.
There are two events during the day. The first is at 10:30 in the morning and the second begins at 5:30 in the evening, and both events include a free guided tour of the chambers. Barnardo's staff will be on hand to talk about opportunities to use your skills to help fundraise in your local community and to show you how gifts left to Barnardo's in wills, no matter how large or small, can impact on the charity's work in the future.
Sue Howard from the Birmingham firm Quality Solicitors Davisons will offer free confidential personal advice about making a will and explain the Barnardo's will scheme. To book your free places at the event, please contact Dylan Carroll on 07885 201 177 or email dylan.carroll@barnardos.org.uk.
So that's what we found on our community notice board for this week.
Would you like to tell people across the area what's going on? Then get in touch. Just make sure you let us know in plenty of time.
Oh yes. You can email us via the postbag. That is postbag@bigcentre.tv. Send us a message on social media at bigcentre.tv, or it's your turn to do it this week.
Or you can pop a letter in the post to the community notice board at Big Centre, 14 Lower Hall Lane, Warsaw, WS1 1RL.
Go!
This week, we're doing things a little differently. We're going to take a look at what the next generation has got to offer in music and art. Thanks to art centres like Artrix, youngsters not only can dream, but actualize their potential. Welcome to Charity Focus. This week, it's Artrix. The centre boasts a 300-seat auditorium, dance studio, meeting rooms and gallery. With over 200 specialist film screenings, 12 exhibitions and many more local community projects round your corner.
We're really looking at our
artistic and engagement, profile, provision and ambition, we're looking at developing our audiences, particularly amongst young people and children, because we really need to look at who are the next generation of artists, of audiences and managers. So we're really going to focus on the next 10 years of getting young people here into Artrix.
Smith, the saxophonist and finalist in Britain's Got Talent, started his career at the very same arts centre. I caught up with him to find out a little bit more. It's wonderful to see your career going from strength to strength, from Britain's Got Talent. So I'm just wondering, since you started in an arts centre, how do you feel arts centres are important for other youths within the region?
Well, as you know, the young people today, they need places to perform. And places like this are just amazing opportunities for them. I mean, my daughter's only very young, and she came tonight and saw this for the first time. She's so excited about the possibility that one day she could actually perform here. So it's just a great platform for youngsters.
The new director has arrived! This is the 12:44 London Midland service to Hereford, stopping at University, Bromsgrove.
However, part-funded arts centres like Artrix cannot function without the vital support volunteers give. I caught up with one of them.
Well, it's wonderful. We've got a team of 65 volunteers here. They do a variety of jobs. They work behind the bar, they do the gardening, they stuff brochures into envelopes, they usher, vast variety of jobs. They help our education officer with courses for children in the summer holidays. Lots and lots of things volunteers do here.
So how important is it for people to get involved and volunteer their time and services to places like Artrix?
Well, we couldn't operate Artrix without them, certainly. And we've been going for 11 years. We've got quite a few people who've been Artrix volunteers for the whole of the time it's been open. But we're having a new sort of recruitment drive to get more and more volunteers because we need ushers, lots of different aspects, so we're broadening all the time.
Though the Arts Centre is actually run by some funding within the West Midlands, there is still a requirement for the management, which is a charity trust, to find volunteers to take time and put time within the organisation to make it work. Is that you? What ways are you looking for people to volunteer?
Well, we're broadening it, as I said. We'll be asking volunteers if they have any other ideas or any skills that they'll be able to offer that we haven't asked them. We've just had a volunteer survey asking them exactly that. So we've got to collate all the answers from that, and hopefully we'll get some more ideas of things that can help.
I think you've done amazingly well, and thank you so much for all the hard work you and all the other volunteers have been providing here at Artrix and elsewhere in the region. Thank you, we couldn't do it without you. Thank you so much.
They are amazing. Thank you. Thank you.
And so then we've just got time to see what we found in this week's postbag. Now, we shared a story on our Facebook page this week about stray horses in our area and the fact that the number of loose horses on our streets has fallen by 32% over the past year. Well, this, as you might imagine, sparked a couple of comments. We Love Stourbridge said, "Awesome, very interesting," and a slightly worried smiley face. Neil Dyson tagged his friend James Hill in West Bromwich in and said, "James, has yours escaped? Lol." I wonder if there's another story there. Neil or James, if you're watching, please let us know what the story behind that is. I tell you what, though, when I was little, my nan and granddad used to live in Tipton, in Arthur Road, actually, if you know where that is. And there's a school opposite over the road now. But then it was all open fields, and quite often my granddad would open the curtains in the morning to find horses on their front lawn. He either had to call whoever owned them or sort of chase them back over to the field. But yeah, things don't really change, do they? Another story on our news this week was about the 25th anniversary since the opening of the Merry Hill monorail. Do you remember that? Now, it only operated for about 6 years, but apparently it's well remembered. I mean, I remember it. Matt Felkin reckons it was pointless. I rode it a few times. Okay. Well, you see, to say, I remember travelling on it a few times as well. It actually linked the overflow car parks on the waterfront with the main sort of Merry Hill Centre. It's useful coming up to Christmas, actually, because you can never park down there. So I was always sad when it went. The stations are still there, by the way, but they're all boarded over. And I always remember a few years ago, in a former life, I used to work in radio. I used to work at Beacon Radio over in Wolverhampton. And one of the presenters there, my old mate Graham Hall, always did the announcements on the monorail. And I thought that was quite cool. But what do you think? Do you remember the monorail? You know, get in touch with us if you do. Now, this week, Ralph Cox, one of the last survivors of the Normandy landings, sadly died at the grand old age of 101 in a Sheldon hospice. And we had one lovely message from Carol O'Connor Evans, who summed it up for us all. She said, "Respect, thank you, so say we all." Next, the musician Rebecca Downs came in a few days ago, and she evidently enjoyed herself. She said, "Thanks to Big Centre and to Des Tong for having me on your show." Well, the show actually went out on Friday, and if you'd like another look, why don't you pop onto our Watch Again page on the website. And if you want to find out more about Rebecca, then you can look her up on Facebook. Just do a search for her name, Rebecca Downs. So there you have it. That's what we found in the postbag this week. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, then on social media, we are at Big Centre TV. And you can find us under that name on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, plus, of course, you can always email us, postbag@bigcentre.tv. Oh, and don't forget, we've got a couple of other Twitter feeds that you can keep in touch with as well. For sport, it's at Big Centre Sport. For news, it's at Big Centre News. And for What's On, it's at BC_What's On. Quite simple. Or if you just want to write to us, then the address, put pen to paper, the address for anything at all, is Big Centre, 14A, Lower Hall Lane, Walsall, WS1 1RL. So there you go, we've reached the back page of our Big Magazine for Sunday. Now you can catch the Big Magazine on Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. And of course, as you know, we're back with more for you on Sundays, also at 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. Now this week you're going to notice a little bit of a change to our news lineup because we've got something rather exciting happening. We've now got an hour of live sports news and action every weekday at 5 o'clock, coming to you live from our brand new studios at Edgbaston Cricket Ground. So we're still with you at 8 until 9 in the morning, again from 10:30 till 11, and then 1 till 2 as well. Then, as I said, Big News and Sport is with you from 5 o'clock with an hour of sport, and then it's back here at 6 where we'll bring you the latest from Big News. More news and sport from 8 until 9, and of course we've got various updates for you throughout the day. It's an exciting time. We've heard what you want, and it's all here from Monday. So, from me, thanks for watching this weekend. I'll see you later. Bye.